Greetings gamers, I'm Mark.
And I'm Manuel.
And welcome to Tabletop Throwdown. Manuel, we're back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good in the neighborhood. Excited to be shooting a video again. So today we are revisiting a game. What do we have on the menu today, Mark?
We have Star Wars Rivals Set 2, recently acquired by Goliath Games. We have the 2-player starter set, as well as the light side and dark side booster pack from Set 2.
So Star Wars Rivals Set 2 was released by Funko Games in June of 2024. It features boosters of collectible minis, which can be added to the fixed starter sets.
Yes, and if you'd like to watch a playthrough of a game of Star Wars Rivals from Set 1, you can click the link in the comments. We had a really good time with that one. Some release and collectability details are also in our comments.
So Mark, we have a goal to explore today, based on some online comments that we've seen.
Yeah, we're going to look at the usual paint quality and compare the figures to Set 1, but there is a potential issue that we want to take a look at before you purchase.
Great, so let's get started and we'll crack open the starter and some boosters.
Sounds good. All right, let's start with the 2-player set.
All right, please do. Go ahead and do the honors there.
Sounds good. Comes with 4 minis, 2 models per player.
Okay, right off the top you'll see of course that the packaging is very nice and solid, nestling the figures in there along with this dice. You have some materials here, some cards, instructions I presume. We have a set of tokens here in their bag, unpunched yet. Not a whole lot of material here, but what is here is very nice.
Enough to play the game. Let's get out some of these models here. They're snug so that they don't get damaged in shipment. But I'm going to get out the light side figures here.
I will do the dark side. There we go. So we have what looks to be Count Dooku, if I'm not mistaken, and Darth Maul.
So here for the light side, we have Qui-Gon Jinn and we have Ahsoka. What do you think of the appearance of these guys?
Well, with the dark side guys, they're mostly black, so there's not a whole lot there. Although I do notice, like specifically on Darth Maul, there are areas of both gloss black and matte black.
Yeah.
So there is, even with all the black, there's a bit of textural difference, I guess you could say.
He polishes his boots. He has an aesthetic about him.
Yeah, exactly. The saber is a little dull. His dual-ended saber, the color, the red coloration is a little dull, but it's representative.
Sure.
His face looks pretty good. That's definitely Darth Maul there. Dooku similarly has some different shades of gray on him, in addition to the black cloak. The face detail, as on Darth Maul here, is pretty good. Overall, the paint quality looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it does. Likewise, I mean, these are made by Funko, which do the pops. I like these models as well. I think I like the dark side appearance a little bit more, but some of the benefits and some of the positives here I'm seeing. Qui-Gon's lightsaber is really cool. It kind of pops a bit with the green, and I really like Ahsoka's stance. It's active, and they look really good, and that doesn't surprise me because Funko makes great pops. So these figures, for a collectible, affordable, pre-painted game, I like them.
So we have here, of course, the die that is used as part of the game for, remind me, Mark, I believe this is for...
that is for Initiative, I believe.
Right. I'm having a hard time pulling it out of there. This packaging is quite snug.
Very protective for shipment.
I'll let you take that out. And then last but not least, you have your cards here. You have your character cards and your activation cards, which are used. If you'll review the video that we put out prior, you'll see how these work. The activation cards basically tell you what to do during the game. So
absolutely, and we're going to be taking a closer look at the cards in just a moment. As for set 2 quality, it looks like about equal on par, if not a little better than set 1, yeah?
I would say at least as good as set 1, and probably maybe even a little better, yes.
Yeah.
That would be my assessment. The tokens here, very good quality cardboard, nice clean printing. Not a lot of tokens. I don't have a problem with games using tokens as long as there's not too many of them. There's some games that just go completely overboard with tokens.
Right.
This isn't bad at all. There's only a handful here.
Mostly
really.
modifiers of -1, things like that.
Things of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah.
So you got yourself a nice little pack of tokens here to work with. So that's nice.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to come back in just a moment and compare and contrast this set 2. This is the current product with set 1.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we're going to take a little bit closer look in a comparison sense between set 2, the current product, and set 1. And we're going to start out with the figures themselves. So we've got a figure here. I've got, for the dark side, I've got Darth Vader from set 1.
And I have the iconic Luke Skywalker.
Right. And so, again, on the dark side here, because there's so much black, it's so dark, paint quality, I mean, there's not much to say. Darth Vader is mostly glossy, as he is, as a character is, but it looks good. The molding and the quality of the workmanship here is good.
Nice sculpts.
Nice sculpt. I do like his saber blade a little bit better than Darth Maul there. And it's got color where it needs color. There's a little silver on his belt, etc. His little greeblies are colored. So I would say the quality is at least on par between the two sets. They seem to be pretty close in my mind, at least the dark side is.
I agree. And over here with Luke with the light side, it's a little more obvious and it screams a little bit louder that it's just a collectible pre-painted miniature. And I think that's because with the light nature of the clothing and the hair, you see the details a little bit more that way. They did nail the eyes pretty nicely for something being mass produced like that. His lightsaber looks cool, and again, the stance is just rad. He's really getting ready to do some work.
Yeah, I would have to say so. They've really got the faces down on this. For being a mass-produced pre-paint type of a thing, the faces are actually extraordinarily good, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say on the light side that maybe set 2 is just a trifle, a hair above set 1, just a tiny little bit.
Which is nice to see improvement. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think just kids are going to love collecting these, and some of us grown-ups having them on our computers and everything else ready to admire on a regular basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Mark, my understanding is that there's a little bit of a controversy regarding the cards.
There is. It has been pointed out that the back of the card font has changed a bit from set 1 to set 2. And we're going to take a look at that right now because something that is noticeable in the player's hands to indicate which type of card you have in your hand and which potential set is a bit of a cardinal sin in the trading card game industry. We do have things that have changed in the past, like Magic the Gathering's color of the back, as well as games like the Call of Cthulhu collectible card game back when it was the TCG. The colors changed, and those get solved relatively easily. But let's take a look, Manuel. What are you noticing about the font?
So I'm looking at the card backs for the action cards. These are the cards that tell you the things that you can do in the game. And at first blush, if you just kind of set them side by side and look at them, they look very, very close to the same. The differences are extremely subtle. But right away, looking at the card, you can see that the A in the word rivals, the font for it is slightly, well, it appears to be backwards is what it looks like on the set 2. Mm-hmm. So the A has a little hook at the bottom that goes to the left in the set 1, and it goes to the right in set 1, and it goes to the left in set 2, which is really interesting. Also, the S, the font is very different on the S.
Oh yeah.
It's non-serif, or sans serif as they call it, in set 2 here. In set 1 is sans serif, whereas the set 2 has serifs on it. So between the A and the S in the word rivals, you could, even from across the tabletop, probably tell the difference between these cards, which could be problematic.
It could be problematic indeed. And do you think this was maybe just an error in what they submitted to be printed, or do you think it was intentional? It's kind of hard to know, isn't it?
It's hard to know. It seems like the kind of error that wouldn't be likely from a company like Funko, because detail is everything for these kinds of companies. And you almost have to feel like this must have been intentional in some form or another, but it's hard to know. It's very hard to know whether that's the case or not. But the key point here is that set 1 card backs and set 2 card backs are noticeably different in a way that's not just accidental, or doesn't seem like something that was introduced as part of the production process. Somebody somewhere chose to put the different font on there.
Yeah.
And why that may be, we can't be sure, but they definitely are different. Now, will this be a major factor in gameplay?
Not necessarily, because if you're playing very casually with a partner or kids, they may not even pay attention or notice. You may even intentionally not take a look at that aspect. Or you can just make the simple solution of protecting your cards and sleeving them with something like a Dragon Shield matte brand sleeve, and that solves the problem because you have an opaque back.
Right, exactly. So even though these do have an odd shaped size, it looks a little bit like a coffin is how I
They're uniquely shaped.
They're uniquely shaped, sort of octagonal-ish, coffin kind of shape. There's no reason that you couldn't drop these into a sleeve, some kind of an opaque sleeve, and that would obviously address the issue.
And you'll need to do that with the location cards as well.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The fonts are similarly different on the location cards, and so interesting change there, interesting difference there between the two. Yeah. So.
Thankfully not usually played on a highly competitive level to our understanding by any stretch, so hopefully this is not something that will dissuade you from buying it, but we did want you to be aware so that you can make an informed choice.
Right, exactly. This isn't the kind of game that you'll see played in tournaments or for prizes or anything of that nature. This is just a light beer and pretzels around the kitchen table kind of thing that you do for fun. So I don't think that this would be any kind of a critical downside to casual play. But if it matters to you, simply sleeving them would work out, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and clear some of this stuff off the table. We had a look at the starter set, starter 2. Let's go ahead and look at the boosters. So Mark, let's go ahead and clean this stuff up and go ahead and have a look at the boosters here.
Sounds good.
There you are. Clear this off. So my friend, which side do you want to start with, light or the dark?
Let's start with where you originate, and then we'll get to what you fall to. So how about you crack open our light side booster there, Manuel?
Alrighty, so we have a light side booster here for the new set, set 2. And we'll go ahead and, as gently as I can, crack this open. Here we are. So looking at the contents here, we have a pack of, looks like some tokens and cards for the character inside. Now these are blind boosters.
Yes, they are.
Which means you don't know what's in them, as opposed to the starters, which are fixed. Every starter has the same characters. You'll always have Qui-Gon, you'll always have Darth Maul, etc. The boosters are blind, so you don't know what you're getting when you buy them.
Right.
So we have here, looks like another copy of the little instruction sheet.
Rule sheet, yeah, that's nice to have.
You have
you
a
got
die,
hollow. Right.
a square die, which is nice. This is a translucent blue, looks like Boba Fett.
Mandalorian.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Mandalorian. It says so right on the card here. And I'm not clear on why it's blue. Do you know where that is, Mark?
I believe that the translucent are rarer of the packs. The translucent, there's only one in each box, and there's 2 of the more common figures.
Wow, okay, so you got yourself a rare here, is basically what it amounts to.
We did.
So we have a set of cards here. We have the tokens. Let's go ahead and crack these open just to...
take a look, yeah.
Try not to cut myself while I do this. So there we have the character card. We have apparently some locations here, some additional locations that would add to what's in the starter, and then some activation cards with those font issues as mentioned. So these are set 2 boosters, and then we have a couple of punch-out tokens here, which would enable us to add these to what comes in the starter.
And just what's really interesting is the location cards and the cards that come with the Mandalorian are fixed. So you know that you're getting the same ones with that particular figure, so you don't have to worry about them getting mixed up. And you can use them, of course, with any combination for the locations themselves. Let's take a look at the dark side, Manuel.
Yeah, let's.
Put our die, another sheet. And we have a Battle Droid Commander. Oh, he's kind of cool. Different color going on.
Yeah, that's really neat. So he is a commander, so he's got the yellow head. This would be from the Phantom Menace.
Yes.
For those that are up to speed on that. And like the other one, you do have your character card. There will be some location cards and tokens and such. We probably won't go ahead and crack this open. It's the same stuff. It's tokens that go with that character, the location and so forth. But as you say, the locations and action cards are the same for each specific figure. So all Commander battle droids would have the same cards.
Yes, that is right.
And you have your 6-sided die here. And some instructions. So the paint quality, well, you can't really speak to the paint quality on the Mandalorian because he's a translucent blue, so he's just a sort of he's a uniform blue color. But the Battle Droid Commander here looks pretty nice. He's a mostly tan color, but he has a nice touch of yellow on the head, which is what tells you he's a commander. Some highlights on his chest and so forth. He's got some binoculars here that have a couple of small little details picked out. Overall, a fairly nice looking little mini, I would think.
Solid for a pre-paint, I would say. And this reminded me, if you are buying a starter set to play at home, you're going to want to buy one booster of the dark and one booster of the light. And the reason why is because in the starter set, you get 2 of each side, and then a token to represent the third figure, which isn't as much fun as having a third model actual mini for each side, because you do play with 3 per player. So.
Yes, I remember that. I remember when we played the game that we mentioned that issue before. So yeah, it makes a great add-on to go ahead and pick up a couple boosters while you're at it. They're not expensive, and that way you can start right out the gate with full figures for everything, which is really great.
Yeah. So Manuel, let's talk a little bit, speaking of buying these models and these games, about availability.
Yes.
So originally when this launched for set 1, it was available early on at Walmart and then available at Target. And it is really not super easy to find these this game at this point. Target has it sporadically, and you can buy it online, but sporadically in stores. And thankfully, there's sellers on eBay selling them as well, which has, to my surprise, there's been some nice popularity with it. Did I mention to you what I was noticing with the sales on the one site?
Evidently on eBay you were looking at certain models that had apparently sold numerous quantities, like 60 plus copies or something?
Yeah, I just randomly selected from the drop-down menu for Wicket and sold like 60 some models, and it had 19 watchers and 24 views in the last day, so there is a demand for the game.
Yeah, evidently so. In addition to eBay, which of course you can find pretty much anything on eBay, are there any other online resellers that carry this game?
I did find one other store, which we'll show you a screenshot of, that had them for a slightly higher price. Other than that, next to nothing. I even checked Walmart, which originally sold it at the launch, and I would beware of using them because they had set 2 starter on sale, but the picture was set 1, so who knows what they'll send you.
Right, Walmart can be a little touch and go, especially on their online site, so be wary if you choose to go that route.
But to hunt these down, what I did when I wanted to buy set 2 was I went on the Target website, I found which store had it in stock, and then I drove quite a ways to get it to the one specific store in our area that did have it, and thankfully they were able to hunt them down for me on the shelf. Not kept near Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And the other collectibles are kept in the back by the toys, which I don't think helps the exposure of the game as well.
It's an interesting insight into the marketing behind the game, though, that they would consider it more a toy as opposed to a game.
Yeah.
So perhaps the marketing folks are thinking of this more as a collectible that happens to be a game versus the other way around.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the company at the time when they decided to change the card backing as well, if it was intentional. Not really thinking like a gamer, thinking more just like a general toy company.
Right, right. Very interesting. Okay, folks, that's it for the unboxing. We'll catch you on the flip side.
But on that note, if you want a light, fun game to play with kids, partners, friends, we definitely recommend Star Wars Rivals. We had a lot of fun with that. Check your local Target, eBay, or a few other shops if you can find them, and enjoy.
So, you folks know we always like to hear from the community. What did you all think about Star Wars Rivals Set 2? Please, as always, we appreciate it if you give us a like and subscribe down below, and please join us on our next adventure in tabletop wargaming. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.